Now, from the Bay Area's local news station, you're watching KRON4 News at 5.
Where's my car? I'm gonna go check my car.
Going from car to car, leaving behind a trail of glass. A car break-in spree in the South Bay for the second time this week.
To destroy and cost people money, I mean, it's really not fair, especially with hardworking people in the area.
Sunnyvale police get more than 40 reports of break-ins just last night. We're tracking the troubling crime trend affecting neighborhoods across the Bay. Thank you for joining us tonight at 5 o'clock, everybody. I'm Grant Lotus.
And I'm Vicki Liviakis. Now, it's not clear if they're connected to a larger rash of vehicle burglaries this week across the South Bay, but tonight police have arrested 2 suspects they believe broke into many cars in Sunnyvale. KRON4's Rob Flatabo joins us now live from one of the hardest hit parts of town. Rob.
That's right, Vicki, and the numbers are really incredible. This is one of at least 43 break-ins here in Sunnyvale overnight, at least another 30 across the Bay in Fremont, a dozen earlier this week in San Jose, a few more in Palo Alto. In each case, the passenger side window, like this one, broken out and the car ransacked. Here's more.
I didn't think so they're like a 1%, 2%. I think they have a gang.
Sunnyvale resident Bosh Garang got a knock on the door last night from police about some vehicle burglaries in the neighborhood, and when he went to check on his car...
Where's my car? I'm gonna go check my car. And when I came here to check my car, they already broke it.
Some 40 vehicles were hit around town last night. A string of cars hit here on Rockefeller Drive. It appears the thieves simply moved along the sidewalk, smashing passenger side windows as they went. A few hours later, 2 suspects were in custody, says Captain Dan Pister.
We were able to work with the victims and track some stolen property up into Oakland.
Police arrested 28-year-old Ishmael Murillo Rodriguez and 25-year-old Brian Burgos Vargas, both of Oakland. Each faces 43 counts of burglary. Their victims pleased to learn of the arrests, but outraged nonetheless.
Everything inside the car is like, everything is broken and everything is just like a mess.
To destroy and cost people money, I mean, it's really not fair, especially with hardworking people in the area.
It's not just Sunnyvale. This was Grace Avenue on Monday in San Jose. Dozens more vehicles were burglarized in Fremont and Palo Alto this week, where still other arrests have been made, but police are not ready to say if the cases are connected.
But we're trying to see if they're part of a greater regional problem or if it was just our city specifically.
It's frustrating because getting up in the morning and coming to know that the car.
This victim said he lost nothing valuable, but it was clear his and most of the other vehicles had been ransacked in the hunt for valuables. An Uber driver, Bosh Garang, says besides the damage, he lost a day's pay.
I feel so sad because I just bought this car in September and now they just broke it. And I feel really sad.
Yeah, in addition to the 2 arrests here in Sunnyvale, Fremont police say they arrested an adult and a juvenile in connection with the case there. Palo Alto police earlier this week made 5 arrests. And, you know, I know that if my insurance policy is any indication, most of these victims are going to be out the $200 or $300 to replace these windows because that's just not enough to meet the deductible in most policies. Live in Sunnyvale here, Rob Flatabo, KRON4 News.
Yeah, Rob, not just the cost, but the feeling of being violated. So, you know, car break-ins have been a long-standing problem in San Francisco. And although police say car thefts are down 3%, neighbors near Lombard Street say that area gets hit 3 times a week. They say that more needs to be done to tackle the problem. The neighborhood has scheduled a meeting with their board supervisor next week to discuss street crime.
And in the East Bay, an Oakland crime report released just this week says there was a significant increase in car burglaries last year compared to the year before. The Oakland police chief says because of that increase, the city is forming a task force with other local cities to help curb the problem. Alameda, Berkeley, Emeryville, Piedmont, and San Leandro will be joining in.
Homelessness is not a new issue for California, particularly here in the Bay Area. But now Governor Gavin Newsom is looking to turn vacant state land into emergency shelters for homeless people under a new executive order.
It is just part of a wide-ranging plan that the governor is previewing today.
KRON4's Dan Kerman live for us in the newsroom with details. Dan, it looks hopeful.
It does indeed. As part of this plan, the governor will establish a multi-agency state crisis response team to help local governments address homelessness. He'll also set up a system to track the progress of local governments. For some time now, Oakland has created communities for the homeless by erecting sheds or cabins on state-owned Caltrans land. Wednesday, the governor signed an executive order to allow jurisdictions throughout the state to do the same thing to deal with California's homeless crisis.
I was very excited to see the philosophy and the experiences of Oakland reflected in his recommendations.
In a preview of his $1 billion budget proposal, the governor has also announced earmarking $750 million to create a fund to provide more affordable housing and provide rental subsidies. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf says this will go a long way.
This fund would allow shallow rent subsidies that are not just one-time moving costs, that could make the difference between someone being able to afford rent and not. That is one of the allowable uses.
In a tweet Wednesday afternoon, the governor also took a swipe at the president, saying, unlike at real Donald Trump, California is putting real resources into addressing homelessness. Today, we put forward $1 billion to get people off our streets and into programs and services they need. California is treating homelessness like the emergency it is.
To come forward and lead on the crisis of our times, and that is homelessness, is what every Californian has been waiting for.
Now, Mayor Schaaf sits on the Governor's Council of Regional Homeless Advisors. That group on Monday will be announcing its recommendations with some specifics to further follow up on what the governor has previewed today. Live in the newsroom, Dan Kerman, KRON4 News.
All right, Dan, in the North Bay, the suspect in a girl's alleged sexual assault right near Sonoma Middle School has been identified. Police say Jesse Leon Granado Lopez of Sonoma kidnapped and sexually assaulted a girl while she was walking to school. This happened near Altamira Middle School in Sonoma County. Police say the school called around 8 o'clock yesterday morning. And at about the same time, police say they got another call saying that someone with a similar description was trying to abduct and assault another student. So 2 students here. Officers say they found Granado Lopez and arrested him. They say they are confident he is the only one involved in this case. However, deputies will still be doing extra patrols near that school for the rest of the week.
Time now for a 4-zone forecast. Taking a live look outside from our Sutro cam overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. A little hazy, a little rainy out there still.
Yeah, it feels wintry. Meteorologist Mabrisa Rodriguez is here today. Mabrisa, a little bit of rain last night, but more on the way, huh?
Yeah, that's right, Grant and Vicky. As one storm exits, another one is entering the Bay Area, already tracking gloomy clouds overhead. Right now, for those of you in the North Bay at Tiburon, let's take a look at the timing of this storm because it will be an overnight rain event lasting through Thursday morning. So it is going to negatively impact your Thursday morning drive, bringing periods of heavy downpours and gusty wind speeds around 30 miles per hour or less. Most of us will see about a 1/4 inch of rain and snow levels above 4,500 feet. I'm tracking this storm hour by hour. My full weather hit as we take a look at the storm totals because this one is going to wreak havoc on your Thursday morning commute. Grant and Vicky, back to you.
Thank you, Mabrisa. Today, President Trump spoke for the first time from the White House about what happened yesterday. He announced new economic sanctions against Iran, but did not call for more military action against the country following last night's historic rocket attack.
The president also said the United States is ready to embrace peace with all who seek it. Daryl Forges has more now from the president's address.
Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world.
President Trump addressed the world for the first time since Iran launched more than a dozen ballistic missiles at 2 military bases in Iraq, housing U.S. military and coalition forces. Retaliation, they say, for last week's killing of Iran's top general.
By removing Soleimani, we have sent a powerful message to terrorists. If you value your own life, you will not threaten the lives of our people.
Many had hoped the lack of casualties would sway the president's mind away from a harsh retaliation.
He recognizes that this was intentional by the Iranians to hit near the air bases and in unpopulated areas as a way to tell their domestic population, we hit back, but to not cross a line of killing Americans.
Iran's foreign minister called the attack a proportionate measure in self-defense, and Iran's Revolutionary Guard warned if the United States retaliates, quote, "We will respond to you in America."
The United States will immediately impose additional punishing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. These powerful sanctions will remain until Iran changes its behavior.
In Atlanta, I'm Daryl Forges.
And tonight, a vigil is growing at Kiev Airport after a Ukrainian Airlines plane crashed in Iran yesterday, killing all 176 people on board. Ukraine's prime minister says his country is now working with Iranian officials to determine what caused the plane to go down. The flight took off early Wednesday local time from Tehran's international airport. It was headed to the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. Among the passengers on board, 82 Iranians, 63 Canadians, and 11 Ukrainians. Ukraine International Airlines has so far refused to comment on the crash, but this, of course, happened on the same day that Iran fired ballistic missiles into Iraq, targeting American troops. The investigation into this crash is ongoing.
Coming up, California lawmakers weigh in on the back and forth with Iran. Why one congresswoman says it's time to rethink authorization for the use of military force in Iraq.
And London Breed is sworn in for her first full term as mayor of San Francisco, the special guest that showed up for her inauguration.
And we are just days away from the Niners divisional matchup with the Minnesota Vikings. After the break, Jason joins us live with a preview of the big game.
And if you'd like to skip the commercials, get more news during the break, make sure you are streaming us on KRON4. Download the KRON4 app to start watching now.